All right. It is my privilege to introduce Tom. Hope I say his name right, Mankowski. And um, for many of you, probably didn't. We don't go look at each other. He actually one of his things that he's really good at is turnaround. And I'm going to say he's the turnaround guy in a job search. I think he got notified in August and he's already got an offer and accepted. And so, Tom, thanks for coming today and sharing your story. This is how I hope it happens for everybody that you don't have to be here a long time and suffer very long.
Yeah, I guess I'll start by saying, last week when I talked to Steve, I mentioned like this search for me was different, and this is actually the second time I've been laid off in my career. Um, but I guess long story short is again, other than the first time I started working in, I'll say the civilian sector, because I started my career with 7 years in the Army. And that very first job I got through, a junior military officer recruitment company. But ever since that, I guess and it proved again this time that it all comes down to relationships. Um, but I mentioned to Steve, I guess, that what really struck me this time was it seems different than I guess this would be the third time I guess in the civilian sector that I've looked for a new job or had to look for a new job. And what struck me as way different this time is the level, I guess the responsiveness and maybe even politeness of the companies looking to hire. I've never, I'll say, been ghosted as much as I felt like I was this time. Um, I thought I had a job much sooner than this, and that company, it turned out, um, didn't actually have authorization for the role, so they couldn't offer any money when it came down to that point where things were finalized. Um, I've sent a lot of thank yous, first time with one or two interviews and not gotten any response back, been kind of ghosted by folks that I thought I hit it off with and made a good call. I guess, I'm excited to say I'm going to work for uh, probably the best boss I've ever had, um, who who left the company prior to the last one that I was with and hired me into that company. He left about a year before me, maybe 2 years. Um, and I had a non-compete when I left, so I never really, talked to him, and he knew he couldn't hire me. Um, but we've maintained a good relationship over the years, and in fact, about 3 years ago, I almost left the company I was with to go work for him, but ultimately decided not to because two people quit on a new boss. Carl, you'll know Steph. Actually, it was when Mark Patman and Andrew McKenzie, not McKenzie, Andrew Cleverton left the company. They both dropped their notice within 2 days of each other. And I was about to drop my notice the day after that, but changed my mind out of because Steph was new in the role. I already respected her. And I guess I felt more loyalty than that and didn't feel I could do that to her. But anyway, that was a hard decision to tell my previous boss that I turned down his offer once. And in fact, in my job hunting process this time, I talked to him because we're friends as well, and he often inquires where I'm at. But I told him I wasn't going to ask him for a job again because I still like kind of felt awful for putting him through the process, him offering me a job, and then me ultimately turning down that job. Um, but I guess friendship and his understanding of what happened kind of surmounted all that. Um, I guess similar to what I just heard is, he wasn't in a position where he was looking to hire someone. It's a small consulting branch or company that's part of a bigger company. The larger company kind of focuses on chemical cleaning in the industrial sectors. Um, and he's started a consulting company within that company that consults for turnarounds, mechanical turnarounds in that business, which is what I've been doing and what I'm good at. Um, but he already has three full-time people who work below him, and most of the folks who do the consulting are actually retirees from the big oil and gas and chemical companies. Um, but again, because of the relationship we've had, and I guess I'll say it's really low risk for him and really low risk for me, because we both know each other very well. He knows what I'm all about. He knows the kind of work I do. I already know that he's the best boss I've ever worked for. So, um, it was a low risk situation, but it also required him to go out on a limb and convince the owner of the company and the chief operating officer and financial officer that this was, despite this not being his original kind of long-term plan, it was the right timing, and I was the right opportunity to hire another person, maybe outside of their initial plan. So, I guess ultimately I just feel very blessed. And I guess my recommendation is, uh, have faith in yourself and the people around you. Um, and definitely leverage the relationships you have with folks, because the three times I've landed work, it was afterwards, it was with people I kind of had already built relationships with, obviously twice with this person, and in between with the company relationships that I was able to build with client. So Dyna Nobel was a client of my em- uh, employer prior to that I had done a lot of work with Dyna Nobel, helped them build their turnaround process. So again, I kind of viewed it, and they viewed it as a pretty low risk hire, because they had known what I was about, had worked with me quite a bit in the past. So anyway, it certainly is uh, exciting. It's been a roller coaster that I know, having talked with a lot of the folks who were laid off from Dyna Nobel over the past um, almost month and a half now. It's definitely a roller coaster. You have good days and bad days. I'll just say keep the faith, because you will ultimately land the really good day where you get the right offer and accept the right offer again. And I'll leave it there. Thanks a lot, Steve. Really appreciate your help and support through the process. Thank you very much.
Okay. Is it okay if people ask you questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have one question. So, in your new role, what will you be doing and what does that look like for you?
So I will be doing consulting for the company for turnarounds. So when chemical plants and refineries and big plants that operate 24/7 have to plan these big turnarounds, they end up being 30 to maybe 60-day events that are planned 2, maybe even 3 years in advance that they start the planning. I will come in and help them with that planning. We'll provide assurance reviews. So it's very similar to what I was doing with Dyna Nobel, but I was just doing it specifically for them. Um, I think one of the reasons they hired me is I'm pretty passionate about benchmarking and building prediction models, which I will definitely help bring that talent. They haven't, again, it's kind of a new company that he just branch that he just started several years ago. So they've just probably now got access to enough data to build some models and really be able to leverage benchmarking and modeling to clients. So I think I'll have a big part in developing those models for them early on now. And some of the new services, I'm sure I will help them develop new services and programs for clients.
Perfect. So first person I'll have go is somebody you worked with or Carl.
Congratulations, Tom. I know we
Yeah.
chatted the other day. You mentioned this was you'd accepted an offer, and I'm so happy for you. And I'm happy for our Dino Nobel colleagues who will see this and get some positive reinforcement. Right? They'll be happy for you, but it'll pick them up as well because you're right. Good days and bad days. Right? I've talked to a lot of them and been through the same thing. I think the biggest thing that I took away from what you just said was connections. It's we can send out a lot of resumes. We can talk to a lot of people, but connections, and it's working with me in the job interview that I have tomorrow. Connections are kind of what's moving me forward as well. So I guess to everybody else, keep reaching out like Steve has told us to your connections previous or that you meet maybe somewhere once, reach back out to them again because once you put a face to a name and to a skill set, it's a lot easier than just looking at a resume. So again, congratulations. I'm stoked for you, bud.
Yeah, I was excited to hear that you're kind of moving forward with something you're excited about as well. So best of luck in that, Carl.
Thank you.
And who knows, maybe your cross will pass again.
Yeah.
All right, next up is Don. As
No,
he
just
as
wanted
he,
to.
as he puts something to his mouth.
Yes, sorry. Just wanted to congratulate you. I know it's I what you said is something I need to do a better job at. That power of networking, staying in contact with people you have had before. So I think that's a great example of maintaining those relationships and being able to utilize them when you need those in the future. So congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, again, like one of the things for me is level of risk, right? And there's a lot lower level of risk with people you already know because people can people you could get a good impression from someone right away. And to be honest, like my first boss at Dyna Nobel gave me a great impression first of all, but he ended up being a very difficult person for me to work for. I mean, he was a great person, personality wise and stuff, but definitely a difficult boss to work for. And, after the fact, I'm like, wow, I really didn't realize he was like that. And I was maybe going to have some of the problems I did. So certainly, the better and the better your relationships with the people you're going to go to work with, the less risk that is in it on both sides.
Yeah. Once again, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Kevin.
Can you hear me? I didn't raise my hand, but congratulations,
That's
Tom.
okay. Nobody
Oh,
raises their hand. I just call on you.
he's just
Oh,
putting you
okay.
on the spot.
I'm just one
Yeah,
of those
no.
really terrible
I
career
would.
coaches. Like, oh, did he just call on me? I wasn't
Yeah,
listening or whatever. It doesn't
yeah.
matter.
No, that's fine. Congratulations, Tom. I think what I'm seeing and finding and thought I would find is exactly what you're talking about, right? Which is the things that are actually moving for me and where I'm seeing opportunity is all based around where I've got connections and I know people.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Let me get back to the gallery here. Okay. Next up is Travis. He's there.
I exist. Yes. Congratulations, Tom. I have no questions. It sounds like you were able to capitalize on, well, using your network. It sounds like you've created some pretty solid relationships and been able to leverage it. So, well done. Congratulations. I have no other questions, but kudos.
Okay. Thank you. And next up is Jason. Hold on a sec here. However I do this here. Hold on. Okay. There we go. All right, Jason.
I think we got control of it now. Um, One question I have is, what is a turnaround? I don't recognize that phrase.
Yeah, so for big companies that do continuous manufacturing, like refining of oil or making of plastics and things like that, you run those processes oftentimes for maybe even 6 years without, hopefully without shutting down at all. Sometimes there might be some emergency outages or something, but then you try to run them straight for 4 to 6 years, and then you plan a total overhaul of basically fixing everything, inspecting everything on that 4 or 6 year interval. Plus, you time probably your big projects if you're going to
Right.
maybe increase capacities, put in some changes, some big capital projects. You time those for that same period. So hopefully you condense this all into, say, one 30-day period every 4 to 6 years to get the most bang for the buck. And so those events are oftentimes, 100 million to maybe even $1 billion of maintenance in a 30 to 60 day period. And that's what a turnaround is, that overall event.
Interesting. Yeah, because I've always been involved with discrete manufacturing, so
Mm.
that's I guess easier to break into the process and do changes because we would typically do that, you know, in the summer there was a kind of a shutdown period and then Christmas time. Um, but yeah, I hadn't thought about that with a continuous process, you'd want to just keep going all the time. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, and I assume that's also when you would look at changing your process if you're going to be re redoing things or starting new products.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of those processes use different chemicals, catalysts, things like that. So
Right.
if the technology is changed or improved, one of the projects might be, you know, uh, going to a new improved catalyst, for instance, in some of the reactors or something. So yeah.
So what does this new company make?
The new company is just a consulting company. So the like I
Oh,
said, the
okay. So
parent.
you don't actually, this is not actually a manufacturing company. You consult with manufacturing companies. I see.
Yeah, I will, take my expertise from what I've done in turnarounds with owner operator companies and provide consulting to them, coaching, mentoring, assurance reviews is what the company I'm going to work for does.
Okay.
And it goes to speak, like, guys, like, I certainly, in listening to folks on this call, you know a lot of us are older. I'm 54.
Right.
um and it's kind of scary getting laid off, but at the same
Yes, it
time,
is.
if you step out and you look at the people that are left behind, honestly, like the next most experienced person in turnarounds, I'm actually tomorrow going to do consulting work with, because he has only led one turnaround, and he did a great job, but the people that are left behind are very inexperienced,
Exactly.
and I'm like, they're going to have to rely on consultants and help from outside the company to even survive, let alone really start to learn and develop and
Thriving.
thrive.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'll be
No,
part
and
of
I've stayed in
helping them.
contact with my old company, and yeah, and it's a demographic thing too, because the remainders tend to be much younger. They haven't been through they haven't got the scars yet, and that's part of the just knowing what to do in all these different situations that are never they
The,
they're not
the,
surprising, but they were never planned on.
the workarounds that you learn on the job, not in school,
Exactly.
and it's like, well, we could try this. I go like, how do you know that? Trial and error.
He
Yeah.
said
Yeah,
he's got the scars.
yeah. Well, congratulations again, and good luck out there.
Oh, thank you, Jason.
Thanks. Mike, I know you hopped on late. Anything you want to ask or share?
I want to praise Tom for the brevity and clarity of his story, which I missed entirely because I was a little bit late. But more importantly, congratulations. Um, yeah, the consulting route is a good spot for, as you referred to some of us as a little older, or in some cases a lot older. So that's a lot of what I'm doing right now. But thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. Any parting words for anybody who's here today or those who might watch this at a future time?
From me, I my parting words are just God bless everybody here, and good luck.
Okay. Well, Tom, thank you. Thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
today. All right.
thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.